So in the last lesson, we talked about how we can use a certain trig ratio or a trig function called tangent, tan for short, to find missing angles in a triangle, right triangle, pardon me. We can also use tangent or tan to find missing sides, depending on the information we're given. So I just want to look at 3 examples. Remember what I told you yesterday when we did them? Set up the equation and use algebra to solve it. Okay? And your equation is always going to look like you're going to start with tan. You start with 10, because that's the only one we know right now. And then what comes after 10? The angle. Now, yesterday, the angles were always unknown. This time, do we know what the angle is? It's 30 degrees, so we replace it with 30 degrees. Equals, and remember, tangent is equal to the opposite side 30 degrees over the adjacent side 30 degrees. What side is opposite 30 degrees? What do I name this side? What can I call it? A. Not A, no. You got to use 2 letters, or you got to use a lowercase letter. There's no lowercase letter here. So we can say AB. Don't just say A or B, because then you're talking about an angle. Over, what's the adjacent side? Which is, we actually know it, 10. So there's our equation. I'll just rewrite it without the opposite over adjacent. AB over 10. That's an equation. We have to find the unknown. I have to get the unknown by itself. How would I get rid of the divide 10? No, we don't do 10 inverse because we're not finding an angle. Multiply 10. And those cancel out. And whatever you do to one side, you have to do the exact same thing to the other. So therefore, how am I going to find AB? On my calculator, I am going to go 10 times, remember, if there's a number beside the 10, that means multiply. 10 times tan 30. And this is where we pull out our calculator. And it says answer to the nearest tenth, so that's 1 decimal place. So on your calculator, you would go 10 times 1030 and round it to 1 decimal place. Anybody think they got it? 5.8? You're not sure how we got that, make sure to ask. Okay, you should get 5.8. So that's the missing side. Okay.
What about centimeters? No.
Oh, it says centimeters. Sorry. Yes, we do. Yeah, if there's no units, don't put any. If there are, put them in. My mistake. Okay, let's do another one. And again, what am I doing at the start here? I'm setting up an equation, and then I got to figure out how to solve it using algebra. Right now, the only one we know is tan. So we're going to start with tan. What's the acute angle we're given in this question? 20 degrees. Equals the side opposite 20 degrees, which is 3.5, right? That's opposite. over the side adjacent. Well, we don't know it, how do we label it? Yeah, because remember, DF is the hypotenuse, so that means EF must be the adjacent. And notice that's what we're asked to find. So now it's like solving a fraction equation. Except we got to do a couple of steps this time. What's different about this one than the last one? Yeah, the unknown is on the bottom this time, right? Last one, the unknown was on the top. Well, we still solve it the same way. I got to get rid of the fractions. What would I multiply this by? To get rid of this. Yeah. Which means I have to multiply this side by EF. So I get EF times tan 20 degrees. Remember, when it's like this, it means multiply. Equals, and 3.5 is by itself. Well, I still don't have EF by itself. There's a times tan 20 with that. How do I get rid of times tan 20? Not tan inverse. Remember, to get rid of tan, you do tan inverse. I'm not asking you to get rid of tan. I'm asking you to get rid of tan 20. There's a difference between the two. Divide by tan 20. Which means I have to divide this side by tan 20. And now I'm ready to use my calculator, except this time I got to do a division. 3.5 divided by tan 20 and round it to one decimal place again. 9.6. Can I have a second person confirm that? Good. Excellent. Okay, last question. We've got a word problem, but it's got a diagram. And when we do word problems in trig, you'll get diagrams. Okay, so we've got a searchlight on the ground that's shining vertically until it hits a cloud. Okay. It says a horizontal distance of 250 meters from the searchlight. So if we go 250 meters this way, the angle between the ground and looking up to the cloud is 75 degrees. Okay? That means this is 250 meters. That's where the 250 meters gets labeled. We are asked to find the height of the cloud. So which one of these lengths am I finding? Which one represents the height of the cloud? The one that's vertical, right? That's what we're trying to find. And with these ones, we're using tan. Can anybody tell me the equation? What do I start with? Yeah. Then 75 degrees equals the opposite side 75 degrees, which we have called H, over the side adjacent to 75 degrees, 250. So we've done the trig part. Now we do the algebra part. We get H by itself. How do I get rid of divide 250? Those canceled, but that means I'm going to multiply this side by 250. So to find h, I have to do 250 times the tan of 75 degrees. And that's where I use my calculator. It says nearest meter, which is nearest whole number, no decimal places.
933.
How much?
933.
90?
933. 933.
933. Okay. I heard 9 and then it faded. That's it. So you don't have to write this down, but in trig, there's 3 types of equations. There's one that looks like this, and you're trying to find the missing angle. That's when we use tan inverse. And then there's the 2 we did today, where the unknown is not the angle. It's one of the sides, and it's up top. Or the side could be on the bottom. So there's only 3 different types of equations we can use with tan. This one we do tan inverse to solve. This one we times both sides by 7. This one we have to do 2 steps to get x by itself. Okay, but that's really all it is. Like I said, the trig part is setting up the equation. And then it's algebra that you know how to get something by itself. Okay?